Welcome to Google News Canada. I'm your host Daniel, and today we are going to talk about events and issues that may change the face of Canada as a country and the Earth. Mississauga is going to have an election for a new mayor in October 2014, as their current mayor, Mayor Hazel McCallion, is going to retire in December 2014. Mayor Hazel McCallion joined office in 1978 and is the mayor of the city of Mississauga, Canada's sixth largest city, till date. It is said in a report from the Toronto Star that Mayor Hazel McCallion keeps a schedule that most 30-year-olds can't handle. She wakes up every day at about 5 o'clock, she has breakfast, she exercises, and reads reports and communications sent home by one of her assistants. Then her back-to-back meetings and events start as early as 7 o'clock a.m. and go as late as midnight. But in December, McCallion will retire. That's 36 years as mayor. There are 4 candidates willing to take this post, and they are Stephen Mahoney, Bonnie Crombie, Riazuddin A. Chaudhry, and Scott E. W. Chapman. Now, knowing how McCallion runs the city, it's clear that their new future mayor will govern the city differently. It's high time Mississauga had a new mayor, and Mississauga is getting one. But how will the future mayor's decisions affect Mayor Hazel McCallion's previous decisions and ongoing projects, like the upgrade in public transit? A couple of years ago, McCallion allowed the project of upgrading public transit at Highway 10 from Port Credit to downtown Brampton. But the question isn't about public transit, it's about the new mayor's decisions and how they will affect Mississauga and possibly the GTA. Poll locations and dates will be determined by June 2014. Candidates may register and submit their nomination form between January 2nd, 2014 and September 12, 2014 by 2 o'clock p.m. Candidates must register in person at the City of Mississauga, Office of the City Clerk, 2nd floor, 300 City Centre Drive. Candidate packages will be available online or in the Office of the City Clerk from December 16, 2013. Coming up after the break, we discuss the national, international, and global issues on Google News. Welcome back to Google News Canada. We have with us here today on this show Mr. Khan and Mr. Siddiqui, who study issues affecting Canada and the world. Welcome, Mr. Khan and Mr. Siddiqui. So, Mr. Khan, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in our country? What is one issue here in Canada?
Canada has allowed the use of marijuana for medical purposes since 2001, but the marijuana has to be prescribed by the physicians. That was a law, until it was changed recently. There are about 12 licensed producers authorized to sell or provide to eligible persons under the MMPR. Recently, specifically on March 21st, 2014, the federal court judge living in Vancouver allowed those Canadians who own a personal production license to grow marijuana in their home for medical purposes. The 40,000 Canadians who were given this privilege will only be allowed to carry 150 grams. Without this order of the judge, the home production of medical marijuana would end because of Health Canada's new laws, which would have been implemented on April 1st. All those who want to use this medical marijuana will have to obtain it from massive commercial facilities which are being built everywhere around the country. However, British Columbian lawyer John Conroy thinks that Health Canada's declarations are violating the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. He claims that the new rules are causing a problem for patients, saying if the patient can't afford the medicine at the prices under the program that's being produced, then they're placed in a position where they have to choose between their liberty and their health. Health Canada has issued a decree confirming of its goal to treat dried marijuana as such as possible, like other narcotic drugs used for medical purposes.
Moving on to Mr. Siddiqui. Can you tell us a little bit on what's happening to the world at an international level?
The global temperature is rising as fast as a fisher could let out his line. Ice is melting worldwide, especially at the Earth's North Pole and the South Pole. This includes mountain glaciers, ice sheets covering the Antarctica, Greenland, and the Arctic sea ice. Our ice is melting faster and faster every year. Unfortunately, the ecosystem will be affected too. Since the ice is melting, many animals such as polar bears and penguins are dying. Researcher Bill Fraser has tracked the decline of Adelie penguins on Antarctica. In his findings, he concludes that the number have fallen from 32,000 breeding pairs to 11,000 in 30 years. Because of the changes happening to various animals' environment, many animals have to change their way of living. Certain species of butterflies, foxes, and alpine plants have moved to higher and cooler areas. They require cooler weather for survival, and global warming isn't allowing that. Therefore, they must relocate to a northern area. Global warming has also affected the diet of polar bears. Wildlife researcher Martin O. Bard has concluded that since the mid 1980s, because of less ice on which to live and fish for food, polar bears have gotten considerably skinnier. Polar bear biologist Ian Strilling has come to the same conclusion regarding the problem. Sea level have risen dramatically. They are rising faster and faster over the last century. Thermal expansion of the water in the ocean means that the average sea level could go up half a meter. The result will be tragic for people living in coastal cities. The current level number is 271 meters, and unfortunately it might increase to 345 meters by 2050, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The sea level increasing will not allow for fresh water to exist. By 2100, the Cualcaya ice cap in Peru will not exist if it melts at its current rate. All of it would melt. It would leave thousands of citizens that rely on it for clean drinking water helpless. It would also eliminate a source for electricity. Many hands make for light work. Therefore, we as humanity should try our best to protect this blue marble. If the earth was to come with a manual like everything does, one of the chapters would be about living in harmony with nature. It would tell us to treat this planet well because this is all we have. It would tell us to find alternatives to the fossil fuel that we use and burn. It would tell us why we cannot afford to ruin this planet.
Our final issue that we will be talking about is human rights. Today, under that category, we will be talking about child soldiers.
A child soldier is anyone under the age of 18 who has been recruited or used hostilities by state armed forces or non-state armed groups. From the start of the 21st century, the involvement of child soldiers have been seen in almost all parts of the world. Tens of thousands of children who haven't become adults yet are still serving the government in armed forces, some even being younger than 10 years of age. The children have had to take part in different types of roles, having to take on frontline duties such as being fighters. They also have to imitate porters, couriers, spies, guards, suicide bombers, or human shields. Some are even used for the carnal desires of the armed forces. It has been rumored that more than 6,000 children in Africa have been tossed into the role of a soldier for the Central African Republic, with the numbers growing day by day. Recruitment is happening everywhere, some reasons being poverty, a desire for revenge, and a lack of knowledge on the part of children. There have been many accounts of girls being used as tools of rape. Thousands of people have been murdered, almost 1 million driven out of their homes, and about 2.2 million need critical care in a fight which happened when Seleka rebels started attacking the African government just a year ago. 23 children between the ages of 14 and 17 years were freed from armed forces in Bangui, the capital of the Central African Republic, after UN officials and the transitional authorities granted entry into all military bases so that the previously Seleka forces could be released. Child soldier quantity is increasing because of an increase in aggression and the creation of self-defense groups, being 6,000 in number. Fortunately, the world has opened up their minds and have started taking firm stances against the use of children for combat roles. Many organizations, such as Child Soldiers International, are working towards preventing the military recruitment of children and the engrossment in armed conflict by conducting thematic research and analysis and global monitoring. Only time will tell the fate of the victims of this awful wreck.
Well, that concludes our newscast for today. Thank you for joining us on our show, Mr. Khan and Mr. Siddiqui.